Test 1 2 3, test 1 2 3. Welcome everybody. We'll be beginning momentarily. Hey everybody, and welcome to the TI Live support session. If someone that is currently watching and hopefully hearing me, if you could just use that chat panel and let me know, hey, sounds good, okay. I got somebody giving me some feedback, so we are good to go. Welcome everybody. Here's where we talk about anything TI related. As you can see, my desktop. And we've got a crowd in here, a little crowd. I see more people joining. So at this point in time, just let the questions fly using the chat panel, and we can talk about whatever you guys might like to. While we're waiting on questions to filter in, just take a little bit of a look at the market, and as we can see, closed yesterday right about here. Still had a little bit of room to go, butting up against this area that could act as potential support. And of course, as typically happens, they like to jam it a little bit past. So we've got that wick forming on the daily. I got a 5-minute chart up there. How did that happen? Let's go back to 15. Aha, makes a lot more sense now. Here we are looking at the intraday on the 15-minute. SPY trying to reclaim that 10 period right there, but as long as that bad boy is tapping it down, we might have a little bit more downside, or a non-recovery, as you might call it. Hey, what's up there, Mike? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right. I am all yours, everybody. While we're waiting for a question to come in, here's that little stock I was mentioning in the webinar yesterday, Lovesac. Make those cool modular couches that you've probably seen commercials for, but it appears that the couch business might be waning a little bit. We broke all-time lows a couple of days ago, or actually yesterday. We popped down here. This little guy's continuing nicely, and I do believe earnings are not due on Lovesac. Yeah, it looks like March 10th before the open. So might be one to keep an eye on moving forward if we continue to stay weak in the markets. All right, see a few more people streaming through the doors here. Kind of all quiet on the home front right now as we just kind of wait. What I've found interesting is the volume levels are finally starting to die off a little bit on these major tracking ETFs. And sure enough, as I said that, we got a 1-minute volume kick on the SPY, and 5-minute and 10-minute levels are still just slightly above normal. A lot of people talking about the 200-day moving average potentially coming into play on the daily on the SPY, as we can see from the blue line here. And that certainly might be in the cards if things don't start to get strong soon. All right, more people coming in. So once again, ladies and gents, anything is fair game. Questions panel is open. Been doing a little experimentation myself this morning with Holly AI. I allowed my Brokerage Plus in paper mode to automate all the Holly strategies today. Where's my Holly tab? There it is. I got this thing scrunched up a bit here. Let's expand it out a little bit. Interesting thing about when you decide to automate Holly strategies, I just turned them all on, and I'm going with moderate risk, as you can see right here, which is paying attention to the stop loss, but not paying attention to any of the other exit signals. And the interesting thing, and what I really like about doing this in demo mode, is it builds in slippage on top of the Holly signal prices. So good example here, HFC, we got a 39.77 price, but in Holly we got a 39.78 price. So 1 penny worse on the demo fill here, which it's short. So we got 77 versus 78. TVTY, which is a long, we got a price of 13.30, and Holly's entry price is 13.27. So technically 3 cents of slippage on that entry there. And this is going to help make simulation a lot more realistic, because if you've ever automated anything within Trade Ideas, whether it be Holly or something that you've built yourself, slippage is always going to be part of the game. All right, we got a question coming in here. I have a question. What does distance from inside market at 0.5% mean? Great question. Great question. So if I take a look at any of these windows, whether it be these alert windows, this guy, if we come in here and take a peek at one of the strategies, you're going to notice when I go to my filter settings here, and you're going to notice this in just about everything that I use, whether it's a top list, alert window, doesn't really matter. And you can see I've got even a tighter setting here of 0.2%, which whether it's 0.2 or 5 is probably not going to make that big of a difference. But let's talk about the filter first. The inside market simply meaning the difference between the current level 1 bid and the current level 1 offer. So if we say stock XYZ has a current bid of 10 and a current offer of 10.05, then we have $10 bid, 10.05 offer, we got a 5-cent spread in there. Okay, so anywhere between 10 and 10.05 is what we call the inside market. So distance from inside market with a max of 0.2 here, since every alert that's being delivered via a Trade Ideas alert window is being driven by an actual print from the time and sales, as we can see right here on this VNet. The last alert was a print. 1565 is what triggered that alert. Obviously it was inside the spread. So this little guy is meant to keep the data stream clean. In other words, with a setting of 0.2 in the max field, if the print that's going to generate the potential alert is outside of the spread by even 1 penny, so if we revert back to $10 bid, 10.05 offer, if the print is at 10.06, it's going to get ignored because it's in essence outside of the spread. And 85-90% of the time, when things are outside of the spread, it's typically a bad tick. Okay, and we don't want to use bad ticks for alerts. So the short answer is a setting of 0.1 to 0.2, 0.5 in the max field and distance from inside market just ensures us that the print is going to be within the spread, at the bid, at the offer, or in between. So how to, I hope that makes sense. If you're still not clear, let me know and I can try to explain it a different way. Damien's asking, how do you add the 200-day on the chart? Okay, good question. You can see right here on my daily, I've got the 200-day. All right. Now, if there's a study that you'd like to add, we right-click, we come down here to indicators, okay, and then you can simply pick SMA, and then it's going to add an SMA, and then we can tell it what day or what period we like. And so in other words, if I say modify, it's going to show me the existing studies that I have on my chart. Okay, so the green one right here, that's my 10 period. The purplish one is my 50 period, and the blue one is my 200 day. Down here at the bottom, I've got RSI. So once you add the study, you can come back in here and fill in the appropriate time frame or the appropriate period and click OK, and it should be relatively easy, Damien. So why don't you go ahead and try that. What you're going to do first, I'm just going to duplicate a chart so I don't muck this one up. So let's do an exercise here. First, I'm going to remove the 200 day. And to do that, I check the remove indicator box and I go OK. Okay, now there's no 200 day. So now I'm going to right click. I'm going to say indicators. I'm just going to say add an SMA. Okay, now I'm going to go back in and modify that guy. Okay, so I got my 10, my 50. Now it's showing a 30. I want to change that to a 200. So we just go in here, hit 200. If we want to change the color, we can just change the color back to whatever we like. Hit the OK button, hit the OK button. And it doesn't look right. Looks nothing like what we have here. So what did I do wrong? I put a 20 in there. See, I left a 0 out. 200. Blue. Okay, and there you have it. I've reinstalled the blue 200-day moving average. So Damien, hopefully that makes sense. Let me know if I need to address anything else when adding studies to a chart. All right, a few more people streaming in. That's a good thing. Questions panel is currently cleared out, so if you got one, let me have it. All right, is it possible to make the chart stay at a certain time frame? Well, the chart is going to stay at the time frame. So in other words, if you look at both of these charts, this is my daily, this is my 15-minute. The only way a time frame is going to change, and I'll just go ahead and duplicate a chart. The only way a time frame is going to change is if you change it by right-clicking and going to time frame and then selecting a different time frame here, right? So I select monthly, boom, it's changed to monthly. But the time frame should remain intact. The date. Okay. Okay, so when you're back testing, are you going back and reviewing the trades and then that's when you have to scroll back in time? Is that what you're getting at? When you're reviewing trades from a back test? Because if I just generate a random back test here just to have something to look at. Okay. So let me can that guy. Okay, so obviously poor results just because I wanted something up there to look at. But now when we're looking at the calendar and say we go back to the 28th of January and say we're looking at all these trades, right? And then I double click on one. Now here it is on the daily. It puts the arrow there. But if you're looking at the intraday, yeah, you have to scroll all the way back. And the smaller the time frame you're looking at, the more tedious scrolling you have to engage in, right? So if that's what you're getting at, well, let's see, what was that date again? That was on January 28th. Should be getting close here. It's not showing me the arrow here though. 128. Try a different one here. Here. Obviously I'm in 15-minute candles here. And one would think that we would be getting an arrow here as well, but I'm not seeing it. Here we are on the 28th of January at 2 o'clock, but I'm not seeing any arrow here, but I'm seeing it on the daily. So if you are talking about scrolling back on the intraday, obviously the larger the time frame, it's going to make it easier. You know, notice if I go to, say, hourly, it's going to be a little bit easier to deal with. Okay, there we go. There's an arrow right there. And then you can just kind of use the zoom and compress feature to kind of zero in on that day by holding the control. When I go mouse wheel up and down, it just scrolls the chart. And then when I hold control down, then I can stop and compress that guy or expand it. So let me know if that makes sense. If you're going to want to scroll on the intraday, you might want to start with 60 minutes, zero in, and then use compress and scroll to navigate to that day in the most painless way possible. Whoopsie. Okay, while waiting for another question to pop in, always like to point out, how do I change the reason number 26 to LE to P percent? Hey Excel, I'm not sure I understand that question. Reason number 26? In the description box. You talking about custom formula, Excel? Ah, okay. Well, let's take a look at the alert here. Just so I can see. Tell you what, let me just do this. Okay, now we've got all the halts kicking out for today, and you were talking about reason number 26, right in the description here. Halted because of reason number 26. Yeah, that I think whatever halted for reason number 26 could be up or down a certain percentage or buy, sell, and balance. To be quite frank with you, I don't know off the top of my head what reason number 26 is. Okay, volatility or order imbalance, whatever they want to call it these days. So getting back to the question here, you would like to be able to see the description versus just reason number 26, if I'm understanding that correctly. There's no way to do that right now. That's just what's coming through the data feed. Maybe perhaps in the future we could translate that instead of saying reason number 26. But I get your point. How do you show the sentence in the box? You mean like what you're seeing right here under description? Right, as long as you have the description column, it should show you the information here. Chimpu, Chipmu. Reminds me of chimpanzee. We got chimpanzee and Nimrod have both been halted today. That is a good question, RK. Um, do not know off the top of my head. Let's just do a little exploring here. I'm just looking at today's history. Let's let it fill in here. Let's see. We got reason 26 seems to be one of the more popular reasons, but look, we got a reason 37 here. ZCMID. Gee, is that an IPO? I don't know. Only 2 days of activity. Nimrod. That thing is definitely cooking today. Looks like we closed right around 329 and bada bing, bada boom. News is out. Of course, guess what? It's a little biotech stock. And the reason I'm saying that is the smaller biotech stocks are notorious for going on big rips, taking big gap ups, big gap downs, all that good stuff. Even down here we've got reason number 46. Let me just see if I can access a list here just to satisfy my own curiosity. Let's do something here. Halted because of reason 46. Trading halts and codes. Huh. Well, it's going to take a little bit of digging. I thought it'd be easy to pop, but halts are your specialty. Yeah, there's definitely some explosive moves when something gets halted. Of course, there's the knife cuts both ways, right? It's kind of like trading on the open. It's easy to make a pile, but it's also easy to get washed right off the cliff because of the fast-moving nature. Really, I guess it all just boils down to liquidity and what you think you can get as far as price goes, which we all know. Sean will tell you this ad nauseum, as I will. Level 2s used to mean something. They don't really mean anything anymore because even if you see big size on a bid or an offer, it can just disappear. It doesn't have to be traded through like in the old days. Yep, and that's a general rule of thumb as well. Avoiding the open. Let's check in on the SPY. Ooh, we have, oops, let me put this back on 15 minutes here. We're acting like we're going to go test this low down here. 10 period on the 15, keeping it nice and tapped down. Got a little bit of what could act as support here, but man, this is just, it's a glaring gap right there. It's like it wants that 200 period, but we'll see. If you have a layout and you want to share it, some of the windows contain your personal custom formulas. Yeah, so if you save that layout and you send it over, well, whether it's a layout or whether it's just a specific window. So for example, in this alert window here, I do not have any customs. So if I sent this over to you, it would appear just as it is here. But there was a custom formula in there. If you and the other person had that custom formula with the exact U prefix that you had, it would transfer over and activate the custom filter if they had it installed with the same U prefix. If they do not have the same custom formula, then the window will transfer via the Cloud Link, but that custom formula will simply be missing. And the same is true if they had the same custom formula but did not have the same U prefix attached to it, it would also not be present. So the only way that a custom formula is going to show up if you send a Cloud Link to another person is if they have the exact same U prefix attached to the exact same custom formula. Yeah, Damien, the question is, can you convert an alert window into a top list? The answer is yes, but then the question would be, is it really going to do what you want it to? And the reason being is if I right click in this alert window here, go into configure, I've got my filter set and I've got my alert attached. So in the alert window, sequence of events is the filter set has to be met. So right now there's probably several stocks meeting the filter criteria and the system has eyes on them, but it's waiting for one of the stocks meeting the filter criteria to hit a new high. Then that's when we're going to see it come through the alert window. Now, if I collaborate this, collaborate copy, spawn a new top list window, and then I collaborate those filter settings into it, when we come in here and take a peek, okay, that's the exact same filter set I had in my alert window minus the alert. So all this window is telling you now is that all of these stocks on here currently meet the filter set. So you see the top list is for when we just want to use the filter set only and we don't want to use an alert. That's why we invented the top list, because people eventually figured that, number one, they didn't need an alert. As long as this filter set was met, that's all they cared about, right? And by the way, filters always work in all or none capacity. So it's a very powerful all or none set. So if you try to view a filter set through an alert window, you just get this mad scrolling all the time. Whereas in the top list, it just shows us a nice list of all the stocks that are currently meeting our filter criteria. So hopefully, Damien, that makes sense. Right. So it's just for when you want to use the all or none filter set. All right, had a few more people join the party here. Always a good thing. And the volume just will not dry up on these tracking ETFs. It tries to here on the 1 minute, but then it kicks back up. So we're still about not quite 50% above normal on the 10. More importantly, this relative volume number over here on all these guys is pretty jacked up today. While we're waiting on a question to pop in, notice the AIs over here are all, or these bottom two, NEO and Holly 2.0, in conservative mode with small losses today. Which is no big surprise coming into this session. Got how many stop outs? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stop outs, which as far as a ratio goes on 11, 14 trades, that's kind of high for a stop out ratio on Holly. But once again, knowing the type of market we were coming into today, it's not a big surprise. And we got action on these tracking ETFs, but man, my windows are sure stagnant. Nothing coming through here, 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 or here. GCI taking a nice breakdown. These media companies are getting punished as of late. Viacom getting punished on earnings. This was a really interesting play the other day. This was earnings day on the 20th. So you got VIAC gapping below this area on earnings. But then we had a lagger, VIACA. This is the same day. So this one lagged. This happens from time to time in earnings season or just on other trading events. Doesn't necessarily have to be earnings. But VIAC gapped below. This one opened higher. So you had plenty of time to put the short on the A series of common. Those don't happen very often, but it happened on the 20th. All right, just reading these new questions here. Could be really cool if I could find any filter and make an indicator out of it. Show me how the filter is changing through the day. I'm not really sure what you mean there. The metrics of the filters are always changing. They're always in motion. So I'm not really sure what you mean by that one. Aya's asking, how would you turn an alert window into a multi-strat window while keeping the layout of the alert window for the new multi-strategy window? Well, the first part of the question I get, the middle part, while keeping the layout of the alert window. Okay. Well, number one, you can't turn an alert window into a multi-strategy window, but you can create a new multi-strategy window, like so, and then we can transfer single standing alert windows into a multi-strat alert window. So for example, if I remove these strategies, delete, delete, and delete. Now I have an empty multi-strategy window. If I wanted to transfer this window into the multi-strat, we simply right-click, we select Collaborate, say Copy All. In here we go Strategy, New Strategy, Collaborate, and Paste All. Now that strategy lives in the multi-strategy window. So you would just do this for as many strategies as you would like to populate within the multi-strat alert window. Now when it comes to saving your layout, you would just position this guy accordingly. You could get rid of the ones that you transferred in, or you could keep them, whatever you'd like to do, and then just save your layout. Oh, while keeping the headers the same. I think that's what you're getting at, Aya. So we would just need to go back in here. Obviously, we got a strategy in there. The headers just popped in. It took a minute. Took a while for those things to pop in. But we can always right-click, go to Properties, and then rearrange, get rid of, or add columns. It's just a little different. In the alert window, I still think it's Properties, yeah. Nope. We add columns from inside via the Columns tab. But in the alert window, we have to right-click and go to Properties. And then we can add, subtract columns. So let me know if that addresses your question there, Aya, or if I need to expound. Xerox getting a little frisky, but not doing much. All right, cool. This stock has been so strong as of late, it doesn't really care. How about what's going on? Safe. Safety, income, and growth. Probably has something to do with bonds. Actually, it's a REIT, real estate ownership. But I have noticed a lot of these Nuveen funds, BlackRock municipal bond funds have all been popping all-time highs as of late. That's typical when the market's getting weak. Yeah, I see what you're talking about. A histogram of a filter over time. That would be interesting. Would be interesting. It's not something that we're doing, but I see your point. Now we do have a different type of histogram while we're on the topic of histogram. See if I go into a filter, once I add it, and I click here, our little show me, help me tool lets us figure out if we're putting the right settings in here by telling us in English what a setting in a certain min-max box, whether it be negative or positive, is going to do for us. And then we have a histogram right here that lets us know how much one filter setting is going to impact available stocks for the day. So this number right here, it's always going to be close to about 8,000. Today, 7,917. It's always going to change from day to day. But that's how many stocks Trade Ideas had its eyes on as of the open today, 7,917. But if we say, okay, only want to see stocks that gapped up a minimum of 2%, just this one filter setting reduces almost 8,000 down to 498. So only 498 stocks gapped up 2% or higher as of the open this morning. Obviously, the higher we go, the smaller the sample's going to get. Still had 105 stocks gap up 5% or higher. 75 stocks gapped up 8% or higher. Still had 43 stocks gapped up 11% or higher today. Interesting. All right, the crowd is increasing. If you got a question, now's a great time. That's a nice little staircase. Nice controlled short. Could have almost stayed in clean with a trailing stop until this little guy right here. Well, yeah, that barely got it. What do we got? A high there of 89.16, 89.22. Yep, trailer would have got you out here. Notice the 10-period SMA though. Nice and below. The guy didn't have earnings until April. Can you quickly go over the save as default when in an alert or MS window? Yeah, no problem. Notice when I go to my toolbar and I say new alert window, it spawns a turbo brakes up 4 billion. Notice that coincides here because I right clicked at some point and said save as default. So if you pick an alert window and you save it as default, then when you go to spawn a new one, that's what's going to pop up. It's also a good idea as well, once you get your Brokerage Plus all dialed in the way you want with all your columns, it's also a good idea to right click and save as default. Once I make a bunch of changes, I typically do that, whether it's Brokerage Plus or an alert window. And then I also, just for safekeeping, go ahead and save my default layout, because you've probably been through this before. It's very annoying when you go through there and make a bunch of tedious changes, get everything nice and tidy, and then you forget to save it, and you pull it back up, and it defaults to the way it was before. And you basically just did all that busy work for nothing. So get in the habit saving your default windows the way you like them, as well as saving your default layout when you make changes. Appreciate the compliment there, Damien. Yeah, we're liking these a lot. You know, we just switched over last week from the old TI University format and archive those to the YouTube channel, so people can still go back and take advantage of that rich content. But yeah, we're all digging this a lot more. I think people like it. So everybody's happy. So we have these going on Monday through Friday now. Waiting, waiting, waiting. We're going to have to wait till the last hour, last 30 minutes. I'll have to wait till tomorrow. Who knows? Next stop on the downside choo-choo train kind of looks to be this little area right here, just kind of eyeballing what I'm seeing over here. Would not be surprised to get a little sag down to that level before the market is out. We're done for the day. I don't know about any of you guys out there, but every once in a while I somehow sleep on my neck wrong, and last night was one of those. So I've got that thing where every time I turn my head, I got that nice feeling of an ice pick being stuck into my left shoulder blade. Hopefully that won't last, but at least a day or so. A little stretching, hopefully get rid of it. And the questions panel is wide open, ladies and gents. So let me have it if you got it. In the meantime, we'll just take a look at my inside candle, daily inside candle window. See what might be interesting here. Yeah, that's definitely inside there, but I don't really see anything I like too much about that one. Planet Fitness. Interesting. Nothing really to write home about. Let's see what the mighty Tesla has been up to as of late. And it's kind of taking a breather down to its little support level here. Fought the 10 period yesterday, but looks like we might have a close below today, which could indicate further weakness. taking a look at the crowd here. Okay, boom, boom, boom. We're increasing. Surely somebody's got a nice question to pop out there. If you just got here, welcome. Thomson Reuters hitting all-time highs in the face. The sea of red. MedP not caring about the market either. There's another one. Can't remember the symbol just off the top of my head. Ah, and here you go. One of the good old sundries, which is not uncommon in a market scenario such as this. Clorox. They make bleach, other cleaning supplies, blah, blah, blah. A lot of the times considered defensive plays when you get soft like this. A lot of the other product manufacturers like Unilever, things like that, typically run up when the markets are weak. Clorox already done with earnings. Are there any alerts or filters that can show the last trade size? No, because that's time and sales, and we don't really track that part of the time and sales. We'll track what the stock printed at, but as far as the share size on that transaction, we do not follow that. Yeah, I bet Clorox bleach might kill the coronavirus, but that's about the extent I would try to speculate on that. Oh, thank you, Sean. Gave me a heads up there. And as Sean just pointed out, we had the low there of 317.53. Low here of 317.25. So yes, indeed, we have just popped new lows, ladies and gents. And we're doing it on some okay volume. Still got that high relative volume. We're 40% above normal on the 10-minute, 60% above normal on the 5-minute, and the 1-minute is accelerating here. Qs haven't really caught up yet. Will they lag and do it? Will the S&P pull everything down? IWM. Yeah, IWM kind of leading the pack here. Position in range. If we want to see the day's range in dollars, how would we do that? That might be doable in a custom formula. Once again, here's you're talking about position in range for the day, and of course, we could view the numerical value here, but it's not going to be in dollars. We can see the percentage. So this is a percentage filter. Okay. So I think theoretically we could mark the high and the low, and maybe convert that into a dollar filter. But the best thing to do, I just send that request to info@trade-ideas.com, and then somebody will come back and say, yeah, I inserted it into your account under the U prefix, whatever, or no, sorry, it's not possible. Yeah, somebody contributed a potential formula there, so feel free to try that out in the custom formula editor, see if it works. Maybe you can skin that cat right now. 317.26 currently. Looks like we might be taking a little trip down here to the 315-ish area. A lot of time left in the session, about 3 hours and 10 minutes to be exact. Speaking of, that just reminds me, we've got about 10 minutes left in the session here. Going for an hour. Time just kind of flies by quickly in these sessions, which is a good thing. We got a big cap hitting all-time lows. Parks, hotels, and resorts. Very sloppy down here. I don't like the fact that this much energy was burned up getting down to these levels, but it's cracking nonetheless. Here's a different apple. Looks like the hotels. This is the second hotel I pulled up. It's starting to get weak. Once again, kind of a nasty break. Nothing I would have an interest in playing, but all-time lows nonetheless. Not really a whole lot changing with Holly right now. About a $1.50, roughly speaking, to the downside. Viacom continuing to get pounded. I forget the symbol, but yeah, AMC. AMC was getting clobbered. It's taking a little gasp off of its all-time lows too. But a lot of these media companies have been taking a beating. All right, about 8 minutes left, ladies and gents. Good time to get a question in if you've been sitting on one. Oh, and there we go. I was just talking about the Nuveen family. Been seeing a lot of those things come through. And here we have the Nuveen Muni Value Common. Just up, up, and away. All right, since no questions are coming in right now, did want to take an opportunity to show everybody one of the features that you can access in the current beta version of the software, which is available right under the normal release download that we have on our website. We got the buy and sell buttons up here on the charts now. And what you have to do first is in Brokerage Plus, we set up an order entry strategy, for lack of a better term. So if I go in here and say edit, you can see here my order details. I'm using a limit price with a -7 delta, which is going to take the, basically the inside market and go 7 cents up and hopefully fill me without taking too much slippage. But the bottom line is I'm risking $100 per trade, and then we can go over here to risk management and we can set our stop loss and profit target. Okay, basically just our entry and risk management, and we call that a strategy. And you can see here I've got this one set up for going long, and if I right click on it, I've checked off default chart long strategy. So now if I come up here and I say, you know what, I want to buy Nuveen, when I click on the button, this becomes active, and then I can just simply adjust my buy price. As soon as that thing clicks a new high right above high, it'll execute for me, and this will be my designated stop loss area. So that's how we can manage our orders from the chart now, execute, set everything up by the lines, and if we need to change anything at any point in time, it's just as easy as dragging this and adjusting it. Everything will automatically adjust in Brokerage Plus. Always a pleasure, Mike C. Thanks for popping in. T-minus 5 minutes and counting until the conclusion of the session. Good question, Jose. If you're referring to the chart oriented strategy, let me get back in here. You can set up the time and force. I'm going to go back in here, and you'll see right here I've got my time and force good for 600 seconds. So that order would stay out there for 10 minutes. If it didn't get filled after 10 minutes, it would drop off. It's a little cumbersome right now if you want the order to stay in there permanently and good till canceled. We're going to be adding a good till canceled field before too long, in case you just want your orders to stay out there for multiple days or basically forever until you cancel it. So right now we can just do time and force and put a number of seconds in there. You could put 5,000 seconds if that's what you wanted to do right now. But we will be adding the GTC, good till canceled option, hopefully in the next couple of versions. Thanks for attending. Thanks for attending. And we're just slowly eking down here. Slow dribble. Little water torture style here. And as we can see from my big cap movers compare count window, we're just continuing, stocks hitting lows are still very much outpacing any stocks hitting highs here. Boeing. Speaking of, I forget when exactly they started having those 737 MAX problems, but the stock seemed to absorb it pretty well, but earnings are behind them. Taking a little beating today. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got about a minute left, so last call for questions. Last call for any questions. All right, I see some people hitting the door, so want to thank everybody for popping into the live support session today. We will be here same time, same bat channel tomorrow, as well as every weekday moving forward. So I'm sure everybody has stops and trades to tend to, so I want to thank everybody once again for popping in, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.